So this is what today's paper is. Now let me come to this. So I have already said you what is the continuity and what is the change here. So let us be prepared. Those who are writing next year or in the coming years, one thing is very clear for you. Just be prepared to face these eventualities, right? At times they might ask none of the question from the subjective, but they might ask totally philosophical. So we have to be prepared about. We have to prepare our mind to that extent. This is the first caution that I wanted to give. So for those who want to give preparing for the future, let me tell you there are some myths because I asked some people to write essay writing, and many of you are telling that. So I have not completed my GS paper. How can I write the so-called essay? Now, one thing is for writing essay, it really doesn't require to have a great knowledge of your GS. I am not asking that you should have no knowledge. If you are having some basic knowledge about GS, because anyways, you people have written your prelims, so with that prelims knowledge, it is more than enough to write a decent essay. Provided that you should have a clear analysis of the Hindu newspaper. Every day Hindu newspaper you have to read because much of your substantiations are going to come from this paper itself. Every day you have to read the Hindu paper. This is the first thing that I say. So with your prelims knowledge, with the knowledge that you have on GS, that is more than enough. No need to get master in GS paper, but with minimum knowledge you can write an essay paper if the questions are like this. The second one is you should have you have to always follow the newspaper that is Hindu. Every day Hindu is very essential because whatever the substantiations that you are going to give in essay are going to be very dynamic, just like the questions that UPSC is asking. It has to be very dynamic, and that dynamism is going to come from your Hindu newspaper. So that is the reason why I always insist my students to always go and study Hindu newspaper. You keep your time 1.5 hours or 2 hours to enrich your content. Now it is going to help you in third way, that is in building your comprehension. Unless and until you comprehend the things, you cannot write these type of answers. For writing philosophical essays, the most important thing is understanding the so-called comprehension. You have to exactly understand what the question is speaking, what are the various dimensions in the question, how we have to approach them. So for that, we should have some good comprehension ability. That comprehension ability comes from the so-called regular Hindu newspaper. On one side, it is going to add substantiations. On the other side, it is going to add value for your comprehension also. So this is the thing. So never be in a myth that I will complete my GS papers first and then I'll come to the reality. I'll come to the so-called essay paper. No, the reality is if you are having some basic knowledge about GS and if you are regularly reading the newspaper and if you are able to understand this comprehension, if you are able to understand the question clearly, the game is over. The only thing that we have to learn with these three things is the way to write an essay. There is some framework to write the essay that I will be discussing. You should know what is the framework to write the essay. With these three things, the Hindu, comprehension, basic general knowledge, general studies, with these three things, if you are having the framework, you can get anywhere around 120 to 130 by knowing the framework and by writing one essay a week. Per week, if you are writing one essay, then it is going to be more than enough. So in the coming days, I will be discussing what is the framework to write the essay because this is what I wanted to start. Before closing this, let me also tell you one more thing. Now, I asked many of you to study ethics paper. Right? Why I asked you to study ethics paper is unless and until you understand ethics very clearly, these type of questions cannot be answered in a systematic manner. Philosophy is a branch of ethics, right? Ethics comes from the so-called philosophy. So whenever I say philosophical essays, if you are very good at understanding the so-called ethics paper or ethics subjects, then you will be in a position to write a decent answer for essay writing also, because our mind will be thinking about how to write the answers, how to get the answers from the great thinkers. So for writing essay paper, if you are having knowledge about ethics paper and the Hindu with basic general studies, this is going to help. So even if you are having good knowledge on ethics and Hindu, that is going to substantiate, provided that you should have the framework to write a decent answer. So for those who are preparing for the coming year or upcoming year, what I suggest is you go with this, that is called read newspaper regularly, increase your comprehension ability. Don't write everything. First think about how many dimensions you can think about a question. Put that on a white paper. Keep a white paper before you and keep thinking about, okay, what are the dimensions that can be answered in this essay. So that is the second thing. The third thing is have a framework. I'll tell you that framework in the coming days so that you can practice one essay per week and then forward it to me. I'll be evaluating. So this is the best way to prepare essay writing. And this is what essay writing analysis is from this paper. Right? This is for the day. If you have any questions, you can ask me. Otherwise, I'll be winding it up here. Thanks for joining. Have a nice day. Any questions, anyone?